Bam, right there. How's it going, guys? Token Vaping. So today's review is a little different. I was able to acquire a newer pod system that's out on the market right now by a company that may not be fully known or popular yet to people, but I'm hoping that, with this video and a few other people that are trying out this product, that it's something that might interest people, especially if you're just trying to switch over from smoking, things like that. This is, better suited for that particular style. If you've used a pod system before, you'll know what I'm talking about. I've only had the opportunity to try one other one, so this is still a relatively new field for me, but I am proud to say that I was able to get this. I did purchase this off of Shop MVG, which is Shop My Vape Goodies. I will put that link in the comment box. It's by a company called Hiro. So their tagline for the most part is be your own hero, the new hero to vaping, things like that. But it's a simple little pod system. It comes in a box like this, and it has, the basic information that is needed at specifications and everything, and I'll get into all that here in a second. It comes with the user manual, and then it comes with a little pass inspection card to let you know that this did pass through their testing facility and everything else. Now, it does come, this is the device. This is the battery part. It's an internal battery. It's a 400 milliamp battery, and I believe they have it rated at about 250 puffs per charge. So it does come with its own USB charging cord, which does have pass-through capability, but obviously if you use it while it's charging, it's going to take longer. So if you just plug it in, let it charge up, it doesn't take very long. And then it comes with their pod system, which is this right here. It is the pod and then the cap. Now, the cool thing about this one that I do like is that these pods are refillable. Now, if you know, there's a lot on the market right now. There's a bunch of pod systems on the market. It's really going to come down to user preference as far as to which one works for you, which one you like, whether it's the feel, the hold, the inhale, the comfort, things like that. I mean, it's all going to come down to personal preference. Don't get me wrong. But one of the things that a lot of them are based with is that they have filled pods that you basically just click in, you vape it, and then when you're done with it, you toss it, you put another one in. For some people that works, especially if you're on the go, and that makes sense. But nowadays, especially with the way that these systems are set up, a lot of people are starting to get into the, well, what if I want to vape a specific juice? Or what if I like this particular flavor? So the fact that this is refillable to me is a big plus. However, that comes with its own downside as well. So before I get into that, real quick, I have to give a huge shout out to the Hiro company. When these were first made, these pods, if you can see, it's hard to see the coil in it, but it has a 1.8 ohm coil that was originally in the first set of these. Let me just confirm that real quick. Yeah, it was a but they changed it to a 1.2 because they said that it works better, it works smoother. So when the Hiro company found out that I purchased one of these devices off of Shop MVG, they double checked with that company to make sure that they had the newer pods, which they hadn't gotten the update just yet, but they are in the process of switching those out. So Hiro sent me a set of the 1.2s, which I thought was really, really cool of them, because they want to make sure that if I'm going to do this, review this, try it out and everything else, that it is up to the standard that they want it to be or that they were trying for. So the fact that they did that was really, really impressive. So I have to have a shout out for that. Now, what I was saying about the refillable part being the downside, if you can see it right here, that tiny hole, you can see it right there, that tiny empty hole, that's the fill port. Now, obviously, if you're going to make it refillable, it needs to have a fill port. The problem that this falls into, in my opinion, is that the plug for this is this big. That's the whole plug right there. That tiny little piece. And I understand it has to be small because of, the size of it. However, unfortunately, the problem with that is with it being small, if you have big fingers, if you have long nails, things like that, and it pops out and it gets lost, you're out the plug and you're kind of stuck with the pod not being usable, because then obviously it's just going to leak out that porthole. So that is a downside. Now, I mean, are they in the process of trying to make it better? I'm sure they are. They've said that they're still in the works of retesting some stuff and fixing things up and everything else like that. But I do have to let that be known, as a proper review, that you are going to be dealing with that as far as an issue, depending on how it works out for you. For me so far, I've been really careful with it. You know, people will say, well, if you use a pair of tweezers, it works great. And that's true too, but I've also tried picking stuff up with tweezers before, especially when it's rubber, which it is. And then when it like kind of does a little pop because you slip or something like that, especially with juice on it, you still run into that chance of having that pop out. But regardless of anything else, I mean, that is what it is. Unfortunately, at the moment, I'm sure, like I said, they are working on some steps to try to fix that to make it a bit easier. Now, I need to hurry this along because I know you guys are wondering about the vape aspect of this, and there is a two-part to this that I'm doing it this way. I got the silver finish. Unfortunately, they were out of the all-black one because that's the one I would have gotten. It's a 400 milliamp battery, roughly rated at about 250 puffs. It's 1.3 ounces. It is a 87.5 millimeters, 3.5 inches by 0.48 inches by 1.1 or by 1.1 inches. I showed you everything that comes with the kit. So altogether, this is about the size of a regular lighter. So it's not big, it's not bulky, but it has a nice little grip to it. The anodized metal gives it a little bit more durability. So God forbid, you know, you pull it out of your pocket and you drop it or something like that, it's not going to shatter right off the bat. You know, it can take a slight ding. I'm not going to say that it's dent proof or break proof or anything like that, but it is built to be a bit tougher than a lot of the other ones that are on the market. Now, I'm going to jump into the vape of this just to give you an idea of it and the vapor production you can get off of this and the feel of that. The reason why I had to wait so long was because I was trying to find Saltnik liquid flavors to work in a pod system because those are the only ones that will work. Now, the Saltnik ones, with the Saltnik, if you haven't researched it or anything like that, it's not very hard. They're all over the place. You can find the information. It's basically a different way that the nicotine is processed into the fluid so that it gets into your system faster so you feel it more. Works better with pod systems because of the really tiny coil, so that you get it into your system more. Now, the other thing about Saltnik liquids that are made for pod systems, the nicotine content is going to be super high compared to what you normally vape. I normally vape a 3. Don't stray out of that. Now, for this pod system, for this, and I'll tell you this in a second, this is a 30 milligram nicotine. So if you were to use this in anything other than a pod system, it would pretty much make your lungs want to blow up and just make you go like that, not literally. But, so these, I implore you, if you're going to use Saltniks and high nicotine, only use them for pod systems. That's the only thing that they are designed for. This comes from Barn Brew. These guys have been amazing all the way through my reviews history. They have let me review a bunch of different flavors that they've come out with. They are responsible for their classic line. They're responsible for the Nefarious line. They're responsible for the Voodoo Vapes line. Great people, amazing company, great flavors. This is a Saltnik high nicotine line that they came out with for pod systems just recently. So this is part of the thing that I was waiting on. Now, I'm going to use this flavor for the pod system to show you how it vapes. However, when I do the flavor review, I normally always do a first vape, open the bottle on camera, but I'm showing you right now, this is the flavor. I'm opening it for this pod system. So when I do the review for the flavor, the bottle will already be open, but I'm just explaining as to why. This is Hannibal Nectar. This is supposed to be pomegranate, honeysuckle, and nectarine. It is a 50-50 ml or 50-50 mix ratio because of needing the higher PG content in a 30 milligram bottle. And if you think that's small, it's because you're looking at a 1.2 coil. It doesn't take up a lot on each puff. So you're going to actually go through this a lot slower than you think you will because of how much smaller this is. But without further ado, I'm already going over the time limit that I wanted to. I apologize for that. But I'm going to go ahead and pop this open. And you do have the little nozzle tip, so that will work fine for this pod system. And all you do, well, you get that ring out of the way. All you do here is you just basically, like you do anything else, just squeeze your juice into the pod system. You kind of go a little bit slow at first because you're going to have a couple of air bubbles. And once those air bubbles start getting to the top of this, it does make it a bit more difficult to fill. But once it's full, like I said, it does not take a lot. Then this is where the difficulty part comes in, and you just have to be careful with it. After you do it once or twice, it does get a little bit easier just because you get a little more used to what to expect or how to work with it. But just taking that little rubber piece. And obviously it wants to be difficult because I'm trying to speed this up along the way. And then it just pops in like that, and then you have it fully closed. Now what I usually do is I'll just take a paper towel or something and just dab around it just to make sure that anything, if there's any liquid buildup or anything, it's not gone, since those two metal tab contacts are the contact points for your device. As you can see, the two little points in there. And then all this is you just take that, pop it in. It doesn't really click or anything, but you just pop that in like that. It does have your side vent holes so that the battery does get air. Also has a battery level indicator right here that does light up. It does have the Hiro name, and then there's your charge port. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. This is the first time that I've used this with actual salt nic in this. So this is Hannibal Nectar. As I said, this was pomegranate, honeysuckle, and nectarine. With the lighting, it's kind of hard to see it light up. But this is good for either the straight mouth to lung, or if you want to do a lung hit. Now the vapor, sorry, I swallowed wrong. I promise you that's all that was. Now the vapor is not going to be super huge because it, because it is a pod system. If you are already a daily vapor, the mouth to lung may not feel a whole lot different to you, or you may not feel anything at all because you're so used to having so much more vapor in your lungs. If you do the lung hit, you definitely will feel the nicotine a lot more, as I did start to feel that scratchiness in my throat. The mouth to lung will work best for people who are just transitioning over. It will give them more of that draw feel that they're used to, that straight mouth to lung. Flavor wise, it's actually pretty solid. The pomegranate and the nectarine do pop out a bit more. The honeysuckle I don't really taste a whole lot, but I will give it a little go. The other downside to the refillable pods is, unfortunately, if you want a different flavor in these, you will have to purchase more than one pod. They are not expensive at all to purchase a couple, but you will have to put different ones in here if you want to vape a different flavor or just vape this out. It's really not easy to pull all of the juice out. It won't just drain out if you pop the little plug tab on it. So unfortunately, that is a downside as well, unless they come up with, unless you have like a little bottle like this or something that's empty and you can kind of use that to do a reverse pull out of the juice. But overall, it's compact, it's lightweight, it has a nice little feel to it though. You don't feel like it's going to break if you squeeze it. It does have a nice little hit to it, just depending on the juice that you use. Now, like I said, this is a 30 milligram, so there are ones that are higher, so you will get a harder hit on those. But as far as the concept of this, it is pretty compact, it is pretty simple, it is, you know, just a vape and go. It's inhale activated. And it's not harsh at all. Like I said, it's a 30 milligram, and normally, you know, if it was higher than a 3, I'd probably be choking on it. But because of how much smaller everything is in this, you don't feel it as harsh of a hit, but you do feel it. The other nice thing about this is this does have a cutoff timer. I believe it's right around 10 seconds. So if you do a full lung hit and you basically just keep going on it, it will automatically shut off so it doesn't overheat the battery. That is a nice function you would not expect in a pod system. So with that said, I apologize. I took a bit longer than I had meant to. You can either get this off of shopmvg.com, which is where I purchased this one myself. I believe they are sold out, so you would have to go directly to Vape Hiro. That's Hiro. vapehiro.com, and they are available on there as well. Pricing for these are not expensive at all. The pods are not pricey at all if you only want a couple of them. Nobody says you have to get a huge abundance of them. Barn Brew, thank you for the flavor to be able to try out the system. I will be doing a flavor review on this as well, a little more in depth with that, and the other salt nic flavors that they've come out with. That's available at esigbarn.com. for the flavors if you're interested in those. I will have all those links in the comment box as well. Vape Hiro, thank you for helping me get the right pods, the newer pods, to try this out. Shop FMG, thank you for allowing me to purchase this off your website. Barn Brew, you guys have always been amazing. Thank you for the continued opportunity to review any flavors that you guys have wanted to be reviewed. As always, guys, I'm Token Vaping. I'm here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Pinterest. Anything that I can do myself to help further enhance your vaping experience and make it more enjoyable for you, honestly, that's the only reason why I do this. I'm continuously humbled, and from the heart, it means the world that you guys take the time to watch my videos, even when I run a bit over like I did today. Clicking that red subscribe button, it means everything to me. So thank you all so very much for that. Always truly love yourself. Until next time, guys, vape on, vape strong.